bad dream.
It was only a dream, kiddo. Go back to bed.
No, Daddy, it was really scary.
You want to tell me about it?
No, Daddy.
Want to come into bed with your mother and me?
No.
Well, why don't you want to tell me about it? It'll make you feel better.
No, because this is the part in my dream where I tell you about it and the thing wearing Mommy's skin saddle.
Lovely. Isn't it funny how a child's mind works? How something as comforting as a parent soothing a child after a bad dream can become a bad dream. Childhood is a time filled with magic and wonder, when the world is new and terrifying. Simple things can be transformed into the extraordinary. A shadow becomes a monster whose only desire is to rend your flesh from your tiny bones, ripping you limb from limb as it feasts upon your tormented scream. Perhaps that is why we forget so much of our childhood.
In the third grade, where she would have us do the multiplication tables by cutting everything out in those triangles, and each equation you had to turn everything. So like, new equation, turn it to this way, new equation, turn. She couldn't teach us the multiplication table like a normal person, but still half the class understood it, and then the rest of us are just like,
just made it more complicated.
Exactly.
Yeah. But oh my god, speaking of elementary school, do you remember that show, Cove? Like, it used to be on at like 4 o'clock, and it had to be 93, 94. I don't know, I was like 6.
I think I remember that show.
Yeah? Really? I mean, I've tried to find stuff on it, and I can't find anything anywhere. I thought it was a local show, but you're not from around here.
Yeah, no. That was the show that had the little girl who had imaginary pirates as friends, right? There was that little puppet named Pirate Percy. He always kind of creeped me out, though. He looked like he was made from a bunch of different doll parts, like he didn't quite fit together. But man, his head. I think that was the worst. It was like one of those old-fashioned baby dolls you always see in those creepy old pictures.
Yeah, that's right.
Unseasonal, but this movie is pretty funny, I'm not gonna lie.
You just got to watch Queen Latifah jump off a dam in a squirrel suit.
1994. Candle Cove, sorry. I just started to really think about it. It was on in 94, not 93. And I don't think it was on very long. I remember I used to watch it with my brother when my mom was done with the news. And I remember Pirate Percy and the boat. Laughingstock was its name. And the little girl, she was Janice.
You have to go inside.
You okay, man? That was creepy, but I do know what you're talking about. Kind of.
Yeah, that's what Laughingstock used to say, right? Whenever Percy was too scared to go in somewhere to get the treasure, like a cave or a dark room.
You have to go
and it was so awful. Like the switch between the plastic ship and the foam puppet. Like you could see the fishing line moving the mouth up and down. And do you remember the villain? You know, he had like the face that was made out of teeth, and he had that awful like handlebar mustache, and he had like a monocle. I used to think that many had one eye, but kids, right?
Wait, I thought Percy was the bad guy.
No, Percy wasn't the bad guy, but neither was the guy with the mustache. He was the villain's sidekick. His name was Horace Horrible, I think, but the real bad guy was the Skin Taker.
Yeah! Oh god, I remember him. He was so freaky. The way his mouth moved, it didn't open and close like everyone else's. It moved back and forth, kinda. And Janice would always ask,
Why does your mouth move like that?
To grind your skin!
and his hat, his cape, they were sewn up so crazy. And was that supposed to be kid skin? Ugh. It's amazing what people were able to get away with putting on TV.
You know, I used to have this dream. It was more of a nightmare, really, but the opening jingle would end, and it would fade up from black, and all of the puppets would just be standing there. And then it would just go back and forth between their faces, and they would start screaming and just flailing, like screaming and flailing frantically. And I thought the strings were just gonna break right off.
That wasn't a dream. That was an episode.
No, that was a dream.
No, that was an episode. I remember it too.
And finally, they would show all the puppets, and Janice, she would just be sitting there whining and crying and screaming like she had been there the whole time while they were doing this.
That was the last episode my brother and I watched. We were too scared to ever turn it back on.
Shit. Alright, guys. I think we should call it a night. Got work in the morning.
Yeah.
Hey, you alright, man?
Yeah. It's just funny how much of that show we forgot about until tonight. Anyways, yeah.
I'm afraid he's getting worse. His nightmares are becoming hallucinations during the day.
I was able to get in touch with his mother today to ask her if she remembers Candle Cove. She kind of freaked out a little. She said she hadn't heard of that in years. She said that every day at 4 he would come home and ask if he could watch it, and then he'd go up to his room, turn the TV to static, and watch dead air for 30 minutes.
Mm-hmm. And did you ask about the characters he keeps mumbling about?
Yes, Shauna, Jared, and Kevin. They were his friends from grade school. They used to watch the show with him until they just kind of stopped coming over. His mother thought that they had just lost touch, but she found out some years later that Jared and Kevin were killed in some freak accident, and Shauna just disappeared.
Well, thank you. I have to get going, but we'll meet the same time next week. You can go sit with him if you'd like.
Perhaps it's best that we forget. Sweet nightmares, lovelies.